Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Veramed Stories podcast. I'm your host, Himesh Chauhan. So this week, I am joined by Resource Manager, Vicki Beckett. Vicki, welcome to the podcast.
Hi there, Himesh.
Hello there. And Project Manager, Marie Wagg. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Himesh.
Hello, both. Right, let's start by introducing ourselves. Vicki, would you be able to tell our audience sort of a little bit about yourself, what you did before you got to Veramed?
Yeah, sure. So, hi, I'm Vicki. I joined Veramed just over a year ago as resource manager. I've been working in the CRO industry for just over 9 years now. Previous to Veramed, I was a global resource manager within a large CRO.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so lots of experience there. Excellent. And Marie?
Hi, everyone. So I'm Marie and I work as a project manager at Veramed, and I've been here coming up to 2 years in March. Prior to that, I worked for a large CRO in the same industry for about 10 years, starting as an exec assistant, actually working for Stuart Maguire, who I believe you have just done a podcast with.
Yes, I have. Yes.
And then, I progressed on to working in project management, and I gained experience and my APM qualification.
Oh, wow. So was Stuart the one who recruited you to Veramed? Oh.
Yeah, he maybe a little bit.
Well, that's good. It's always nice to have a friendly face before you join a company.
Yeah.
So let's start on what you do here at Veramed. So, Vicki, will you be able to sort of describe what your day-to-day life is like? What is the role of a resource manager?
So within my role, I provide support to the account managers and PGLs, project group leads, assigning resources within their project groups, working with the account managers to identify the client pipeline, their resource requirements for those projects coming in, working through acute resourcing, challenges and issues such as unexpected needs arising from project changes, team absences, and identifying like the critical resource gaps, the over and unassigned resources, and just looking generally right across the resource pool.
It sounds like there's a lot of things juggling, like a lot of things going on at the time. What would you say are the biggest learning curves when you started this role?
I'd say it was within the CRO industry was the biggest learning curve for me. Previous to that, I was a resource manager in the IT consultancy world. So joining the CRO industry, I had to gain a good understanding of the different terminology, the roles and responsibilities of a stat and a programmer, how those roles are pivotal to a study, and is understanding at what time within the project those certain roles would need to be assigned.
Right. Yes.
You know, like a statistician is way ahead of a programmer, and when those activities start within the study.
Okay, yeah. No, that's really interesting. I did like the fact that you said learning the terminology, because I feel everybody joining pharma is just thrown with so many acronyms and it's just letters until you finally get meaning behind them and then it all makes sense.
Exactly. I mean, you know, what is an SDTM and, you know, what is an ADAM and TFL and how they all flow within the, you know, process of the, you know, the clinical trial. Yeah.
How was it like sort of learning how long a particular task takes? Obviously, programming a data set and a TFL, depending on the study and how complicated it is, can vary between like a day for a week or even a month. Was that quite difficult to sort of balance?
So, yeah, it was understanding the budget. So the phase of the study, you know, like phase one is a pretty standard, straightforward, easy study, not as complex as you get to your phase two or your phase threes, which can take longer to program.
Right. Okay.
There was understanding that. And then what is in the budget? If you know you've got more hours in the budget than a phase one, you know it's going to take a lot longer.
Okay, fair enough. Is this quite different to how resource management went in IT?
Well, definitely, yeah. So within the IT consultancy world that I was resource manager, it was designing networks or, you know, service desks, etc. That sort of outsourcing service.
Right. So something a bit more straightforward than this, which is quite flexible.
Yeah, it was definitely, yeah. It frazzled my brain for the first 6 months that I joined the role, and it was a lot of sort of self sort of searching information,
Right.
Google. And I had good mentors within the office that I worked in that provided a lot of guidance and that.
Okay, well, that's good to hear, and you're still here, so
I'm
it's
still here,
glad
yeah.
that's all worked out. Excellent. Okay, so we've just spoken a lot about sort of resource management. So, Marie, what about project management? Will you be able to talk through your day to day and what goes on in project management?
Yeah, of course. So on a sort of day-to-day basis, I would be responsible for supporting the portfolio leads and the VPMs on selected client accounts and projects, which would also involve looking at sort of budget tracking and management, monitoring project health, flagging when a project might be looking sort of at risk, or if there's any risks associated with it currently, keeping track of those and looking at mitigation for them. Aside from that, I also support the DMC business unit, which is the Data Monitoring Committee business unit, which was set up a couple of years ago. And in that capacity, I support with logistical support on DMCs. So that's liaising with the DMC members who will be attending the meeting. And I'll be setting up those meetings, taking minutes at them, circulating them, ensuring they're signed off. And then also just general project management on the DMC sort of projects. So helping with the project plans, looking at the resource, liaising with Vicki about it, and just all the setup behind that as well.
So it sounds like you do a lot of juggling as well, like speak to one person, speak to another person, and making sure everyone's on the same page.
I try to.
That's fair enough. So what would you say the challenges were when you came into sort of pharma, like to deal with all these different monitoring committees and clients and project leads and things like this?
I think, as we said earlier, it's just getting to grips with the sort of the end-to-end process, how things flow, timelines, what each person sort of does, all the different acronyms, that side of things, and how it varies from client to client, basically. The different sort of ways that we might receive the data or the different formats and all that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like each client has their own sort of way of doing things. They have their own sort of set of acronyms, even though we're all talking about the same thing. So I can imagine it a bit confusing when you're dealing with so many like big clients, smaller clients, and everyone's different. But it sounds like you're all doing a great job. And it sounds like a massive learning curve for both of you in just terms of like just coming to pharma with all these extra pharma knowledge you just need, and you both seem to be doing really well, so thank you both. So is there a lot of sort of speaking with the clients, kind of managing their expectations in terms of projects, and or is that something the project leads will speak to you about and you kind of advise them on?
So in terms of general day-to-day sort of project management, I wouldn't necessarily be involved with the clients directly. On some accounts I am, and some accounts I speak directly back and forth with the clients, but in the majority of cases it will be the VPM that would be the main contact and liaise with the client in that way. I would just be there to support the VPM on the sort of overall project and monitoring of the project and that.
Okay, that's fair enough. And did you find that was a bit of a learning curve as well when you came into the pharma industry, like speaking with the clients here?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Just obviously, as we said earlier, just the difference in the going from the full service just to that one specific part of the process. So all the terminology around that. And I also do find that when you go and speak to different clients, they all have slightly different acronyms that mean the same things, but you they'll amend one letter here or there, and it'll just be knowing that they mean the same things essentially, but they've just sort of changed it that little bit. So knowing all of those also helps. Yeah,
I believe a lot of people listening will feel the exact same way of when they go from one company to another company or working for one client for another client. We're all talking about the same thing.
You probably know as you're across quite a few clients.
Yes.
Anyway.
It is a little confusing. And at first you're just like, I thought I was good. And then you realize like, oh no, we all talk about the same thing here. Like, that's fine. So yeah, I can fully appreciate where you both are coming from, really. Well, excellent. Well, thanks you very much. Like, I think you've both given a sort of a nice overview of what you both do. Like I said before, like, I think some of it probably goes unsaid, but thank you very much for what you do in the background. And we don't get to see what you do. So it's nice to actually hear what happens behind the scenes with both your roles, really. I feel some people might not really appreciate what you guys do, especially with ever-changing projects coming in and like resource having to be juggled around constantly. So the question really, I'll start with you, Vicki, is what are the sort of common misconceptions of your role?
For me, I view like resourcing as a jigsaw puzzle. It's a win-win once, all the pieces fit together, but it can get easily broken, due to timeline shifting, being brought in or pushed out. And then it's back to the drawing board then to look at your resource plan and see, where you need to pull resource in or release resources to assign to another project. There's all different scenarios really that you need to look at. And it's also looking at that available FTE. Is it the best fit? Does it have the right experience?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So there's lots of juggling bits really. And you've also got to factor in, if you're moving a resource from a project, what risk are you putting on that project when you're pulling that resource off?
So, Marie, Veramed pride themselves on like promoting a very healthy work-life balance for all their employees. So as a project manager, like how do you fit that into part of your role?
So I guess for the resourcing part, obviously we enabled a resource tracker to be able to plan all the resource effectively, which enables us to see fairly easily when resource is sort of planned in and it's over allocated. So we would look to sort of address that with the person concerned and make sure, is that actually a true over allocation? Are they really stacked with work? Are they struggling to fit everything in? Do they need support? Do they need other people like sort of allocating to the project, or do they need help with certain things on it? I think also just sort of when I look at people's timesheets, just checking that they're not consistently billing over their allocated hours. And if that is the case, if they're constantly doing overtime, checking with them whether or not everything's okay, just that sort of thing, really flagging it higher up if it needs to be flagged anywhere.
Okay, yeah, I can imagine that just being a whole role in itself, just like looking at all the timesheets, making sure all the hours are allocated correctly.
Yeah.
I bet that's a bit of a pet peeve of yours when people don't submit them on time.
I'm not saying a word.
So Vicki, same question for you, really. Is there anything you'd like to add to Marie's answer?
No, I mean, I just echo what Marie's saying, that we're always checking, who's over under assigned, and, the billability report each month, checking who's burning more hours in their timesheets and just addressing that and flagging up to management.
And if someone is sort of like feeling overworked or anything like this, would you say the best thing is to speak to the line managers and who will speak to you, or like go to you directly, or what's the best sort of approach?
First off, sort of address it with either the account manager or the project group lead. And it could be something as simple as, oh, we had a dry run that week. So, we were tight timelines. We had to get the deliverable out. But I sort of check each month, is it consecutive? And if it gets to about consecutive 3-month period, then it's flagged then to the management.
Right. Okay. No, it sounds really good, because I can speak for myself. Like, I think I have a very good, healthy work-life balance here, and it's a testament to how the both of you do your roles, really. And it's something that probably gets unsaid sometimes because it happens in the background and you're not always privy to what you guys do. So thank you. So appreciate that. So when you're not doing all this juggling and these never-ending jigsaws, what do you like to do outside of work? Vicki, we'll start with you.
I'm a regular at the gym, but that's just to keep fit. I'm not obsessed with it. Horse riding, that's sort of a passionate hobby from my childhood.
Oh, wow.
Love to travel, experience different cultures. I've not done a huge amount since 2020, but hopefully next year I'll get to do a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this year it had all the issues with airlines and all this other things, which was quite annoying because I had a lot of plans. And then, so next year for sure.
Hopefully it'll be more settled next year. Yeah.
Yeah. So the horse riding, do you sort of do competitions as well? Or was it just something you just like to?
Not now, no. When I was younger, yes, but not now. It's just more of a leisurely thing.
Oh, that's fair enough. And Marie, same question to you. What do you like to do outside of work?
Similar to Vicky, really. Mainly sort of go out, socialise. Obviously love to go on holiday. Not that I've been anywhere this year, which upsets me greatly. I go to the gym and I obviously do a lot of CrossFit. Not that I'm any good at it, but still it's the effort, right?
No, absolutely.
And yeah, just sort of going out at the weekend, a lot of shopping.
Yeah, that's good.
All those kinds of things.
Well, you need to do things to sort of unwind and just get away from it all, really. So, yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you both for joining me on this episode. I feel like I've learned a lot about what you both do and just everything that goes sort of unsaid, really. And so I really appreciate you both taking your time out your busy days to come on and talk to me about this. So thank you all very much for listening. If you'd like to be notified on any future episodes, please subscribe to us on Spotify, iTunes, or whichever podcast platform you are using. If you'd like to know more about Veramed, please visit our website at veramed.co.uk, or you can find us on LinkedIn. If you have any questions about Veramed, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, as I'm always happy to help. You can also find us on YouTube and Instagram at We Are Veramed. Thank you all very much for listening, and until next time, goodbye.